I haven't read a lot of your works. I just know a little bit. Why are you so against homosexuality?
Okay. It's really important to separate the two sentences you just uttered. I haven't read a lot of your works, i.e., I don't really know what I'm talking about, but undeterred, you proceed. What have you got against homosexuality? Do you know for a fact that I have anything against homosexuality?
That's what I've read before.
Read or heard?
Read.
Did you read it on the Socialist Nation website?
No, when I Googled it, it was the first thing that came up when I Googled your name.
Okay. All right. Look, I appreciate that. I have written 13 books. I have said very little on this topic. I have written, probably what you're referring to is a book I wrote called The Enemy at Home, which attempted to explain a very remarkable phenomenon, which is why it is the case in the Muslim world today that America is so effectively portrayed as the great Satan. America historically had very favorable views on the Muslim world going back to the 50s. So I was trying to explain this phenomenon. And part of what I was saying is that the rise of cultural liberalism in America since the 60s has given the radical Muslims a powerful propaganda weapon. They're able to say, we're shameless, your women are whores. They're able to say, these people don't believe in God, they kick God out of the public square, they promote gay marriage. So I was actually describing a foreign policy phenomenon, which is the use of propaganda in the Muslim world to convince people to hate America. Now, quite honestly, if you were to read that, you can agree or disagree. But to reduce that analysis to why are you against homosexuality is to me intellectually irresponsible.
No, but
and not, hold on, don't shout from the audience. You're welcome to come up and stand in line next. But what I'm trying to say is, I'm happy to address analysis of something I've written. But this seems to me a distortion of my views.
So what's the analysis?
Yes or no?
Analysis of what?
Are you against homosexuality? Are you okay with it? You engage in it?
No, I don't engage in it.
Okay.
I believe homosexuals have equal rights the same as everybody else.
Okay, cool.
Okay. You want to follow up or are you done?
No, I was just wondering, so do you have a problem with gay marriage?
Well, I don't have a problem with it. Let me say what I wrote about it. The gay marriage issue basically, I think, is a battle for social acceptance. That we're at a stage of our history where there's a huge debate about social acceptance of homosexuality. And I think gay marriage is a surrogate for that debate. Fundamentally, I don't think it's even about marriage. I think it's about society saying it's okay. And marriage is the symbol of that battle. Look, historically in this country, marriage has had all kinds of restrictions. The very word, marriage. You have to be an adult. You have to be male and female. That's the second restriction. You have to be two people. Can't be 3 or 5. So these are all the fence posts that define marriage historically. Now here's the point. Very often the defense of gay marriage is consenting adults. Right? Or love. But the moment you step back and think about it, you realize that if that's true, then none of the other restrictions about marriage work either. In fact, incest is often between consenting adults and a grown-up brother and sister. Polygamy can be between consenting adults. Who's to say that people who can't love more than one person or many? What I'm trying to get at is there hasn't really been in our culture a real re-examination of what we mean by marriage. Now, my view as a conservative is that when you have a social institution, it's kind of like if you see a fence and you go, let's take that fence down. I always say, before you do that, ask yourself, why was that fence put up? If you have no idea why it was put up, you're probably not the guy to go kick it down.
But do you think it was put up for religious reasons?
No.
Is it rooted in morals or?
The basic idea of marriage is this. In any society, it would be incredibly difficult, expensive, and unmanageable if the children of that society, a la Plato's Republic, were turned over to the state, right? Imagine there are millions of children born in America. Imagine if we said to them, the government needs to now look after them, feed them, clothe them, etc.
That happens all the time. So in America, do you think those people don't have the right to have kids?
No. Don't take this in the wrong direction. Here's what I'm trying to say. It is highly beneficial to society to have the parents who bear the kids assume the responsibility of raising them. It's a very difficult responsibility. It's very thankless. And in Western society, it's incredibly ungrateful. It's ungrateful because in other societies like India, your parents look after you, and when they get old, you look after them. So the cycle is completed. There's a cycle of reciprocity. In American society, parents look after children, and then children basically tell them to screw off. Think about that. So parenthood is an incredibly unreciprocated sacrifice. It's one way. And you're just hopeful that your kids will look after their kids. But they're not going to do a whole lot for you. They're not even going to look after your retirement. You need Social Security. So you see where I'm going with this? Where I'm going with this is that marriage was set up the way it is for a reason. Namely, to give special privilege to families that have nurtured at tremendous cost to themselves and sacrificed children over many generations. Now, when I look at the gay marriage debate, to me, it's embarrassing. It's shallow. It is framed entirely in the thin logic of discrimination, as if there was a pure equation between the civil rights movement, the feminist movement, and the gay rights movement, as if there weren't important distinctions between race, which is biological, gender, which is far more complex, rooted in biology, but also a social construct. Obviously, gender identity, somewhat biological, fluidly social. All these things are incredibly complex, and to put a crude equal sign between them, I think actually kind of misses the thicker social meaning of these things. So, again, I've never written about any of this. I'm just literally spouting off from the top of my head. But I'm trying to give you a sense of why there's more to this, I believe, than simply a religious bigotry issue.
Okay.
Okay? Sure.